A myth is a powerful thing. After uncovering a big secret, this is what Andre Layton says to Melanie Cavill in the Netflix show Snowpiercer. If there was ever a figure that proved that statement to be true, it's Ymir. No, not spin-off Ymir, Ymir the founder. Hey guys, and welcome to Anime Extra. Before we begin, we publish new videos every week, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring that bell to get notified about our latest videos. If you haven't already guessed it, this video is going to be addressing the life and lore of Ymir Fritz, and some puzzling details that surround her character. When I say details, I mean manga details, so this video is rated S for spoilers. Alright, if you're still watching this video, I want to say that you have earned my respect because manga is not for the weak. And talking about the weak, that is exactly how Ymir started out in life, a weak young girl. She's from an unnamed village that was overrun and pillaged by these guys, the Eldian tribe. And the rest of this story really makes me feel like finding Isayama, the creator of the show, and asking him, "Bro, what is wrong with you?" Now, after the Eldian tribe takes over Ymir's village, they capture some of the people there as slaves, including Ymir, and then rip out their tongues. Remember, Ymir is still a young girl, and now she begins her life in servitude to the Eldian tribe. But one day, something interesting happens. Someone says, "I'm sick and tired of walls." And no, it's not Reiner or Eren, it's these pigs. So Ymir freed them. The leader of the Eldian tribe, King Fritz, caught wind of the incident, but did not know the perpetrator of the act. He then gathers all the slaves whose tongues he cut off, and asks them to provide the person that just let his bacons go. He then threatens to gouge out one eye from each of them if they couldn't produce the culprit, stating that slaves did not need two eyes to go about their duties. At the sound of this threat, they all point to Ymir, accusing her of being the perpetrator. King Fritz calmly asks Ymir if the accusations are true, to which she cannot reply but simply falls to the ground and bows her head. Fritz then declares to her that she's free and tells her to go. But while she's on the run in true kingly fashion, Fritz sends some of his warriors to hunt down the little girl with dogs and all manner of weapons. She gets injured by the soldiers and eventually falls into a hole in a tree filled with water. While she struggles for breath and seems to be giving up, a strange creature creeps up to her and attaches to her back, and for the first time, an intelligent titan walked the earth, the founding titan. Ymir's titan was huge, very huge. In fact, her titan is believed to be taller than Rod Rice's titan if it stood upright, with the only titan bigger than hers being Eren's rumbling titan. I mean, just look at that thing. Anyways, her titan is a bit different from other titans as the head is just a skull without muscle or skin, and the ribs are visible. Now, this development seems like good news, right? I mean, Ymir has to go all apeshit on Fritz and the Eldians now, right? Wrong. Ymir returns to King Fritz instead, who realizes the potential of her newfound powers. I mean, she had the powers of all 9 titans as we currently know them in a time where people still played with swords. And so Fritz used her to build roads and perform other magnificent feats for the development of his tribe into the Eldian Empire. One of those feats was the conquest of perhaps the greatest kingdom at the time, Marley. At the end of the day, the singular act of attacking Ymir's village was one of the greatest investments anyone ever made since Bitcoin. You can see the glow up from when Fritz was still a bare-chested warlord in the Eldian tribe to when he became the king of the Eldian Empire with several rings and blings. So, to show his gratitude, King Fritz decided to bless Ymir with his seed. Ugh. She then gave birth to 3 daughters for him, Maria, Rose, and Sheena. And just when it seemed like it was all going so well, there was an assassination attempt on the king's life. A certain soldier tried to do a Leonidas on the king with a spear, but Ymir jumped in and took it in place of the king. But then something surprising happened. Ymir did not heal and get up as she had done so many times before. King Fritz was not having any of it, and he told Ymir to get up and stop lying around. Eventually, Ymir died from her wounds, leaving King Fritz without his most prized possession for the first time in 13 years. Subsequent Titan holders would be fated to die within 13 years, and this phenomenon is regarded as Ymir's curse. After Ymir's death, King Fritz then fed Ymir's body to her own children in the hope of preserving her powers. This proved effective as her daughters inherited Titan powers, the 9 Titans were later formed, and Eldian expansion continued. But King Fritz was not done yet as he commanded his daughters to continue passing down their Titans by getting eaten by their descendants. At this point, I can't help but wonder why everyone listens to this guy, even centuries after his death. After Ymir's death. I mean, Ymir still obeys King Fritz, even in death. That's right, after her death, Ymir wakes up to find herself in a timeless dimension where she works tirelessly to build Titan bodies for all the Titans after her, even these guys. Every single Eldian is connected to this dimension through what is called the paths, and at the center is the coordinate. Even after death, Ymir still slaves away at the wish of the king to build Titans, and that is why she responds to the wishes of the Eldians with royal blood. So this begs 2 questions. Who was tasked with building Ymir's Titan? And how are regular Eldians different from royals since they all come from Ymir? For the first question, the answer has to be Ymir herself. And this is not far-fetched since, according to Zeke when he was healed by Ymir, the other dimension is timeless. What feels like a whole year in the paths can actually be just a split second in real time. And when you consider that information from the future sometimes reaches the past and vice versa, as the title of the first episode would suggest, it becomes clear that this is within her reach. And that would explain why her Titan looked incomplete. Her first sculpture probably looked like this. And so when she got to the point where she was to put muscle and skin on her Titan's face and ribs, she was probably like, I'm too tired. But anyways, how are royal Eldians different from Eldians if they all come from Ymir? I have a theory which, if true, will cause us to add incest to King Fritz's long list of atrocities in his short cameo in the show. You see, the royal bloodline would have had to been preserved by inbreeding, and since Ymir and good old Fritz had no sons, the duty of continuing a royal bloodline between them falls to one person, and one person alone, good old Fritz. This practice is common in human history, as we can see with the Habsburgs and their jaws. And if you watched Game of Thrones, you'll be familiar with other blonde, incest-loving royal families as well. So Ymir's 3 kids went full Jeffrey Dahmer on their mom, probably got raped by their dad, and then eaten by their kids. Damn. Maria, Rose, and Sheena had some life before they got mythicized and turned into walls. Ymir as a myth. But no one knows better about being a myth than Ymir does. Over time, she has gotten several portrayals in Eldian and Marleyan pulp culture based on how they viewed her. To the Marleyans, she was the devil who wrecked their kingdom, but to the Eldians, she was a goddess who brought prosperity to their kingdom. Or maybe they just like Columbia Pictures. She was also displayed as a role model for young Historia, with the name Krista by Frida Reis as a young girl who was kind to people but did a deal with the devil of all Earth to become the first Titan. Now, although this picture looks like the album art for a Death Note spinoff, Frida was right about one thing. Ymir was kind, and that explains why even as an enslaved child, she wanted to see the pigs set free and even laid her life down to protect her #1 tormentor. If you ask me, the part about fighting for the freedom of others bears an eerie resemblance to Eren's early desire to free humanity for not having to live like cattle within the walls under Titan attack. Not a goddess, not a demon, not a slave. That resemblance is probably why only Eren has been able to perfectly resonate with her when it comes to free will. Upon meeting Eren in the Coordinate, for the first time in what is literally an immeasurable amount of years of her life, she was told that she could make her own choice, that she could say no to other people, royal or not, and act according to her own free will. For the first time in forever, throughout her life and throughout her death, someone saw her as her, not a goddess, not a demon, not a slave, but simply human. Also, the claim by Frida's book that Ymir contacted the devil of all Earth to get her powers is refuted by Eren Kruger and Zeke. Kruger and Zeke claim that she was in contact with the source of all living matter. This worm-like creature which attached to her back when she was drowning was also visible trying to attach Eren's head to his body twice in the manga. As a side note, this source of all life seems to be modeled after an extinct spiny worm called Hallucigenia, which remains a mysterious creature even to scientists today. Also, Ymir herself is modeled after the being in Norse mythology of the same name. Ymir in Norse mythology is born of Aether, the source of all life, and is responsible for the birth of all Jotnar, which were the Titans. So, one thing is clear. Isayama reads a lot, and that is probably why we have a perfectly written character like Ymir, with such a perfectly written story. Misunderstood by all, fans and haters alike. Wrap up. That wraps it up for everything we need to know about the life and lore of Ymir Fritz, the first of all Titans, demon to the Marleyans, goddess to the Eldians, good girl to Frida, host to the Hallucigenia, and human to Eren Yeager. Those titles should give Daenerys a run for her money. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on dope stuff like this one. Bye for now, and see you in the next video. And don't forget, a myth is a powerful thing.